Kathy here, and I just wanted to share with you a top 10 list of things that you may or may not know about me. First, we'll start with one of the most obvious. I have a rare disease called fibrodysplasia ossificans progressiva. In short, it covers my entire body with extra bone, and it immobilizes it, causing me to be a frozen statue. Everything is locked except for my fingers and 8 of my toes. Other than that, all my joints are locked and I'm unable to move. It affects approximately 900 people in the whole entire world, and although there is no cure right now, they are working on several medications to help this disease. So we look forward to our future. Number 2, I'm a 911 dispatcher. For the past 13 years, I've been a 911 dispatcher for a local city here in South Jersey. It's been a dream of mine to be a 911 dispatcher ever since I was a freshman in high school. My parents told me, you know, Cassie, you better go to college because you don't know if that dream of yours will ever work out for you. So here it is. How many years later? I graduated high school in 2003, and I can say that I've been a 911 dispatcher for 13 years, and I have a bachelor's in communications from Stockton College. Number 3, have you ever heard of Miss Wheelchair, New Jersey? Well, you're looking at Miss Wheelchair, New Jersey 2018. Now you ask yourself, how did you get involved? Well, I was in touch with Mobility Works for probably about 2 years on all the different accommodations and different features that a future wheelchair van of mine could have. Right down to the color, the seats, everything. So after I, maybe harassed the gentleman at Mobility Works, after we finally sealed the deal in November of 2017 on our brand new 2017 Dodge Grand Caravan with wheelchair access, he sent me an email and said, hey, you're outgoing, you like to talk, and you're pretty persistent. I think you'd be a great candidate to be Miss Wheelchair, New Jersey. So here it is, 2 years later. I'm now the founder of the 501c3 for Miss Wheelchair, New Jersey. For more information, let us know. Number 4, although this may sound like a sad one, it's not. I have a dream car. I actually own my dream car, and although I'm in a wheelchair, my dream car was and is a Dodge Charger. Back in 2009, I went to a local dealership and I said, can you work the numbers on a Dodge Charger? And it came back with some figures for me, and I figured it's a little bit high. But I knew what to do, and I knew with a little bit of overtime at work that I'd be able to get my dream car. So on April 6, 2010, I walked into Sport Hyundai Dodge, and I walked out the proud owner of a 2010 Dodge Charger with 6 miles on it. Unfortunately, my disease took a turn for the worse, although not necessarily the worst, but as far as my driving history, it sort of went out the window. But it didn't go out the window of my 2010 Dodge Charger. That will forever be my dream car, and one of the reasons that I love it so much is so they're used as patrol vehicles where I'm a dispatcher at. And my car has a nickname, the Duck, and my coworker one day, before I got my car, pointed out the window and said, hey Kath, look over here. And I said, what is it, an injured bird, an injured cat, an injured duck? It was a patrol vehicle. So I told him when I got my car, I was going to name it the Duck. And here it is. I have my dream car. Although I can't drive it, my husband definitely does get quite a lot of enjoyment out of it. So everything in the end does work out. Number 5. Everyone has an obsession. The fourth obsession may be Dunkin' Donuts coffee. How do you like your coffee? Well, I like mine iced, caramel, light and sweet. And we get it almost every day. Because after all, the Ford Beautification Project runs on Dunkin'. Number 6, aside from coffee, I love Long Island iced teas. It may be one of my favorite drinks of all times. Although you can't have too many of them because things tend to get a little wobbly. But I've learned to make them at home, and I perfected it to the point that I prefer to make them at home than have them when we're out and about. But thanks to COVID, don't have to worry about drinking out in public, so we get to drink at home. Long Island iced teas. Stay tuned for videos on how to make one in your house. Number 7, this might be my favorite one. Butch Walker. For those of you who know me, you know how important Butch Walker is in my life. For those of you who don't know me, I suggest YouTubing him and finding him on Facebook and watching his music and his videos. Or just go on my Facebook page and watch all the videos from when I saw him in concert and I was first row. And every time I go to a show, he knows that I'm usually to the left or to the right if we see him 2 or 3 times in a row. We rotate sides of the stage. But I have been following Butch Walker since 2004 when I saw him open for Avril Lavigne. And although that's a whole nother story in itself, Butch Walker has been a slight obsession of mine, right next to Dunkin' Donuts, of course. But Butch Walker has been a slight obsession, and every time we go to see him in a show, we meet him after the show, and he always recognizes me. He recognizes me to the point that when I shaved my head, and I went up to him after one show, he rubbed my head and he said, "I love the new do." He also knows me because security at some venues prefer me not to be where I'm at due to safety reasons. That's, again, a whole other story. So, from then on out, his stage manager actually comes out and makes sure that we're good to go and everything is kosher. So Butch Walker always has the lookout, and of course we always have to look out for him. And a little funny story, when we saw him in Asbury Park about a year or 2 ago, we were there with my sister, who never met the man in his life. And we're inside the restaurant eating, and my sister looks out the door and goes, "Hey, I think that Butch Walker dude's outside." So Chuck goes over and he looks, he's like, "Nope, that's not him." 10 minutes later, we go outside. It was Butch Walker. But it's okay. Number 8. As a wheelchair user, there's a lot of things that are inconvenient. However, one of my biggest pet peeves is wet floor signs. They seem to be everywhere. And when I say everywhere, they're everywhere. Mostly at my job. You go in the door to go to work, there's a wet floor sign. You go in the elevator, there's another wet floor sign. You get to the floor which your job is at, there's another wet floor sign. You go to the bathroom, you open the door, there's another wet floor sign. But the floors are dry. Why are there so many wet floor signs? And how can we make them go away? Number 9. This isn't a good one. I may or may not have broken a laptop. And it may or may not have been because I was trying to get footage and videos and photos off of my phone onto my laptop. And after 6 hours of struggling, and I'm pretty computer literate, but after 6 hours of struggling, I may have accidentally chucked my phone. Yes, I said chuck. I may have chucked my phone at my laptop and broke the screen. So not only after 6 hours, I got nowhere as far as removing items off my iPhone onto my laptop, but I also had a broken laptop. I can say now that I'm an owner of an HP laptop that I got from BJ's. And it took an additional 2 hours to get the information off my iPhone. Number 10. This may be a little weird coming from someone in a wheelchair. However, I was not in a wheelchair for my entire life. But I hate basements. I grew up with a basement. I hated the smell of the basement. I hated the lighting in the basement. I hated the creepy feeling you got when you were walking up the stairs and you thought someone was behind you. And every so often there may or may not have been somebody being behind me, kind of grabbing at my ankles and making like this little, I gotcha, you know, at the back of your ankles and your foot. And it made it feel like there was a boogeyman behind you. So after 18 years, I am petrified of basements and I don't like to go in them. But guess what? I'm in a wheelchair now. I don't have to worry about basements. So thanks for tuning in to my top 10 things that you may or may not have known about me. And of course, with every video of ours, there's bloopers. So do you want to see them? Because here they come. Bloopers! Start with number 1. I have a rare disease called fibrodysplasia ossificans progressiva. I am in the entire world, and I am one of only a few in New Jersey. In short, it causes my basements. I grew up with a basement. I hated the basement. I hated the way it smelled. I hated the noises coming out of it. I hated the creepy... Stop.